One of the names that came up in John Dorsey's pre-draft press conference a number of times was Jeffery Simmons, the defensive lineman out of Mississippi State. Of course, he tore his ACL in the lead up to getting ready for the combine. Also, back in high school, there's video of him hitting a woman in a parking lot, part of a family dispute. He still was allowed to enroll at Mississippi State. So a complicated question with Simmons for a lot of reasons. Scott, if Jeffery, do you think the Browns need to do what it takes to get Jeffery Simmons, or are you taking him?
Not this year. I don't think that's the type of player the Browns need to trade up to get this year. I think it's a situation with the Browns this year where they can trade down, collect assets for the future, knowing that they do not have a roster where they have to look at a position and say they need a rookie to go in there and fill that need. They don't really have that. If you're looking at Simmons, you're looking more towards next year because of the injury issue. So I think trading up for him and using multiple assets to get him, I don't see the need to do that. It makes more sense for me to stay at 49. If he falls there, well, then you have a decision to make. But I think it's more interesting and more helpful to me to move down and collect assets for next year and beyond.
Yeah, Mary Kay, it's a hard sell for me to give up picks or give up assets for a guy that might not even play in 2019, a guy you won't see on the field until 2020. That's a hard sell for me. If he's there at 49, like Scott said, I'm thinking about it, but I don't know if I'm giving up assets to go get him.
You know, I feel a little bit differently about it. I actually, in studying him and talking to people about him, I do feel like even Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network considers him to be one of the top 3 players in this draft. Again, you would have to wait for him. He's going to redshirt this year, and he does have the baggage. But in talking to people, I feel pretty comfortable that he has turned himself around, that behavioral stuff is in his past and not going to be an issue going forward. He's been great in the community, great at Mississippi State. I know John Dorsey feels very comfortable with him. They can afford to wait for him because they have Sheldon Richardson. And also, I do think that if you package, say, for instance, a Duke Johnson and maybe a pick from next year, which by all intents and purposes you believe will be lower than you're picking even this year. So you're talking about maybe a lower, later second-round pick or a third-round pick or something like that. And Duke, who wants to be out of here anyways, if that's what it took to move up to get him, I would be for doing that.
And we know, of course, the Browns had him out for one of their 30 visits. So this interest there, it wasn't just John Dorsey throwing that name out. The interest there in Simmons is certainly real.